Hello everyone, good morning. I hope you guys are doing good. Let's wait 2-3 more minutes, then we can get started. Let's wait for others to join and then we'll get started. Meanwhile, if somebody has any questions or any queries, that we can surely discuss. So, am I audible? Hello. Okay. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions or queries, we can discuss it. Otherwise, we'll wait 2-3 more minutes and we'll get started. So I hope you guys might have tried out and install all these softwares in your system. Basically, it's Anaconda Navigator or Python, and then you started working on notebooks, right? And I hope all this content is already available to you guys on GLMS. Okay. Yeah, so let's just wait 2 more minutes and let's start at 11:07. Okay. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let me share my screen. Cool. I hope my screen is visible to you.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So far, I'll just do a quick recap whatever we have learned so far, right? So we learned what are all the different data types or data structures in Python, right? Then we learned what all kind of different functions are available, control statements, how to handle them, how to use them. We learned how we can define multiple loops within the loops, right? Nested loops we called, or nested if else control statements, right? And then we learned about what else we covered. Then we covered about module and file handling error in last session, like what all different modules are there, what all different file handling, and what kind of different error treatments are available. So today's topic is gonna be what kind of different all the data file exist, how do we read about it, how do we write about it, right? So on Friday, what we learned was specifically only for the notebooks. Sorry, for the text files. So whenever you have some text files, right, how to open it, how to write about it, how to append them, how to make those changes. But those are very minimum files which are getting used. Majority of the files or data frames which is being used in industry is mostly CSV and an XLS file and PDF file in terms of if it is text heavy, right? But today we are going to cover each and every possible whatever I could think of. I have tried to cover all the possible different formats. How do we process them in Python? How do we read it first, and then how do we process, and how do we make sense out of it? Okay, so while I was searching for it, I really found, I found this really interesting blog, and that's what I will be referring to. So we will be learning together using this blog today, right? And then I will be taking you to the hands-on sessions also for each of the file format. Okay, cool. Fine. So, yeah. So, what are different things, right? So, first of all, what we are going to learn, what is different kind of file formats. First of all, why do we need all these kind of different file formats when I already have something in CSV? Why do I need XLS file? Can somebody tell me using chat? Can somebody tell me what is the difference between a CSV file and an Excel file? Saurav, I can answer this question when in the break. So just remind me one more time that time. But like today, let's focus on that. So can somebody tell me what is the difference between a CSV and Excel file? Why do we need Excel file if we already have a CSV or vice versa? So CSV is the, yeah, it's comma separated file. That's fine. But why do you need? What is the difference between Excel and CSV? Have you guys ever observed? So if you guys have might have worked on that, then you will realize that CSV is very simple file wherein even though you try creating multiple tabs but you won't be able to save it. So there are a lot of restriction in CSV format than Excel file. So you can think of Excel file is a more advanced version of a CSV format. Okay. So lot of formulas if you use, you cannot save them in CSV. Lot of color formatting you do, right? All these things, font formatting, all these things will be gone if you are saving into a CSV. So you can think of like a CSV was a older version, and then there is a new advanced version with all of these new features has come up, which we called Excel file, right? So likewise there are other formats also, right? There is something called these are the two main file in terms of the the tabular structure format. Then you have simple .txt file, then you have zip file, then you have JSON file as well. So we will see today what is JSON file, right? And where do we need it? So JSON is also very much explicitly used in Python. Then you have XML, HTML, and then we have images also. Then we have hierarchical data format as well: PDF, docs, MP3, and MP4. So all these are audio and video files. So even audio and video files can also be read in Python and pre-process. Images or whatever file you think of. So I think all of the file format available has been already covered in this topic. But still, if you could find of any other thing, feel free to add that as well in the list, and we can take it up. Okay. Cool. So as I was telling, right, what is a file format? So a file format is a standard way in which information is encoded for storage in a file, right? So ultimately what we are doing, we are storing information in file, correct? Now the way it is encoded, it depends on what is the format of that file, whether it is a .csv or it is a .xls or it is something else, right? And that's what it when, as I was telling you, that a lot of file formatting, the font formatting or the color formatting doesn't give save in CSV. The simple reason is because in its encoding there is no encoding for color coding, there is no encoding for having multiple sheets, and that's the reason why it does not save in CSV format and it gets saved in XLS format. Okay. So a file format is a standard way, as I was telling you, right? So first, the file format specified whether the file is binary or a SCI file, right? So these are all the two different kind of text format, right? Binary and SCI. You might have read this in very basic computer programming, maybe in fifth or sixth they tell, right? So binary is nothing but two numbers, 0 and 1. And then ASCII format is all we have this different, I think 16, I mean, I don't remember correctly, but there is in ASCII format you have many levels, right? uh, which you save there. So again, this is depend on how you want to store your data. So saving in a binary take less space than as compared to ASCII, right? But again, a binary just stores 0 and 1. It doesn't store so much information, right, as compared to ASCII. So that's the reason one is preferred over the other another. Second, it shows how the information is organized. So one is storing, another is organization. For example, CSV file format store tabular data in plain text. Okay, to identify the file format, you can usually look at the file extension to get an idea. How do you know what is the format? Simply look at the extension. If it is a PDF, then it will be .pdf. If it is a text file, it will be .text or .doc, right? Or .docx also, right? A file saved with the name data in CSV format will appear data.csv. By noticing the extension, we can clearly identify it is a CSV file and data is stored in tabular format. Okay, so this is a example of CSV file. This is a file of JSON file. So JSON, again, you can open in text or notebook. It is a kind of a dictionary you can think of. So we learned in dictionary, right, in Python. It is very much similar to that. It is a structured data only, just that it is in a dictionary format, because simple reason, again, it may happen that your gender is not equivalent to length of the ID. So here you can have multiple lengths also, it need not to be same, right? Yeah, sorry about it, I really have very bad cold. Okay, yeah. Then you have XML files. So these are examples of different file formats, right? So why do you understand, or what is the need of that, right? So I think I have already covered that you never know when you are going to work on what kind of projects. Okay, and what, first of all, in one project also you never know that what kind of data you are going to get. Okay, even for now, and since data is getting stored now so frequently and at so much capacity, that now everyone want to leverage everything for data analysis. So for can you ever think of that, to give you one example, in telecom industry, and most of the industry, it is happening now, that you talk to your customer people, right? Customer care. So now those calls gets recorded, right? So you might have heard this, that we take your permission to record this call, or they just want to inform you. Have you ever wondered why they are storing all these calls? They could have stored just few calls, na? Or record few calls. Why do they record each and every call? Anybody want to take a guess? What do they do, and how they can do it at such a vast level? Think like that, day on daily level. Just to give you an idea, I think be let's say any airlines, they might be getting more than 20,000 calls on a single day, all over India or all over world. Can you even it's not humanly possible, to analyze all these calls manually, right? So they need some softwares, they need all these things. So somebody answered sentiment and text analysis, yes. So they actually try to analyze these sentiments out of the call, that whether customer is overall happy at the end or they are not satisfied, right? So these kind of things are happening, and people are trying to make maximum things out of it. And that's the reason uh, we want to make sure that that Python is capable of handling of all these different kind of file formats available, be it image, be it video, be it audio, be it something else. Okay. Cool. So as we discussed, we are going to cover all these different file formats. So let's first with the CSV. So that is a very common format. Okay, so it is a spreadsheet file format. Now, what is spreadsheet file format? In a spreadsheet file format, data is stored in cells. Okay, so if you open an Excel file, one cell or one blank is a cell. Let me. So this each thing, these are cells. Okay, each cell is organized in a rows and columns. A column in a spreadsheet can have different types. For example, a column can be string, a date, or an integer type. Some of the most popular spreadsheet file formats are CSV, XLS, XML, that is XLSX. Okay, so all these things are very popular. Each line in CSV file represent an observation or commonly called record. Each record may contains one or more fields are separated by a comma. Okay, so if you open any CSV in Notepad format, you will see something like that, and that's why it is called comma separated values. CSV means comma separated values. Okay, so as I was telling you, that columns can have multiple data types. So let's say one data type is name, that is string. Another is email, again that is string. Third one is mobile, that is numbers, right? So all these are different kind of data types, and then it is separated by commas. And if you open the same CSV in a CSV file, like in Excel, you can see them and separated in the multiple columns. Okay, and then each row is a observation. Okay, sometimes you may come across file where fields are not separated by using a comma, or they are separated by tab. So it can happen that instead of comma it is tab, so you call it as TSV, tab separated value. So TSV also exists. So you should be careful if it is separated by tab or if it is separated by a comma, because if you open this in thing, right? So if you, I'm not sure if you guys have done that, but you copy paste from somewhere, right? So there is something called, it asks how you want to separate it out. So in data column, if you go, you can say that text to columns. So this text to columns, actually there is no data, but it would have asked you how you want to separate it out, column, sorry, comma or full stop or whatever, you can give that. So all these things are possible over here. Okay, then how do we read? Simply you have pandas to read a CSV. Okay, so you just have to call pandas as PD and do the pd read CSV and just give that file name. So to give you example over here, we can simply so now let's open a new notebook. And what is the file over here? Let's try to read this CSV. So I just have to call import pandas as PD, and then if I have to read something, I will just simply do pd dot read, and you guys can press the tab to see what all other options are available. So as it has come, right, read CSV, and you just have to give file name, that's all. As soon as this asterisk sign is going on, which means that it is still processing. So now you see number, it has processed. So if you see the data, you can see the data. So that is a file which I have read. Okay, so that's how you read the CSV file, pd dot read CSV, that's all. Okay, then there is XLS file. So again, XLS files are, it's a Microsoft Excel open XML file format. It also comes under the spreadsheet file format. Okay, it is XML file based on format created by Microsoft Excel. It was introduced by 2007, Microsoft Office 2007. Now in XLSX, data is organized under the cells and columns in a sheet. Okay, each file may contain one or more sheets. So that's what I was telling you, right? In CSV, there is just one single sheet. So if this, so actually this is Excel. So that's why you're seeing multiple sheets over here. In CSV also, you will see multiple sheets, but you won't be able to save it. So let me show you. So in here, it is a CSV, right? So if you open it, you are just seeing one sheet over here, right? Even though you are able to create it, but let's say, I did it and I saved it. So it will tell you that it may contain features that are not compatible with CSV. Actually, it is asking for this sheet. So even if you save, I mean, you won't be able to save it actually. Okay, so that's what I was telling you that. Okay, so either you save it in Excel file or you have to delete it. Okay, so in Excel file you can actually have multiple sheets. Right, now how do you read multiple sheets? In here, simply pandas ही आपको load करना है, but pandas में there is another command. Okay, so there is a command called read_excel. Then you give the Excel file, and here you can give the sheet name also. So let's say you have multiple sheets over here: customers, employees, invoices. So whatever is the sheet name, that sheet name you have to give over here whatever you want to read the sheet. So likewise, if there are multiple sheets, there are again options. You can read those multiple sheets one by one in different data frames, or you can read the entire sheet in one go, and then you from that entire sheet you can call one by one those different sheets. Clear? Typically we read it this way only, that whatever sheet I need, I will simply call that sheet and load that in a data frame. That's all. Okay. Clear? Any questions? Okay, let's get going then. Then we have zip files. Okay, so these are the very two most common file formats. Then sometimes you guys might have observed you are getting zip file and rar file. Again, its implementation, I mean, use case of this is very less, because typically we unzip in our Windows or whatever in your outside Python only, right? You typically unpack your zip file or the rar file or whatever it is, and then you can simply read those files in Python. But let's say for some reason you want to unzip in Python, that is also another way. So what you can do is, first of all, what is zip file? So basically, whenever you have very big files and you want to share it with somebody, so you can compress those files. Compress those files means only for transferring, you are shrinking the size or you are compressing the size of those files, right? So if let's say somebody wants to use it, they will have to unzip it or uncompress it, right? So let's say अगर आपका फाइल का size 100 MBs है, and if you have compressed it to 50 MB, then you can simply share it over email or by some other means. Once you have shared, again another person might unzip it, and after unzipping, again it will be back to your 100 MB file, and then you can open it and work on that. Clear? So there are many popular archive formats: zip, rar, tar file. So all these can be loaded or can be unzipped in Python. Zip format is a compression format, which means that if you compress the multiple files using zip, you can fully recover data after decompressing it. It uses many compression algorithm. Okay, you can easily identify a zip again with .zip extension. How to unzip it in Python? Simply, there is a library called zip file. So you just have to import that zip file and do zip file, and within this library you have to call zip file function. So in this zip file function, you just have to give the file name and give the mode. So you want to give read it, right? So you give this mode as R, and that's all. Now within this you can read the data whatever is there inside this file. Okay. So likewise, you can uh, read or unzip the files in Python. But as I said, right, its use case is very less. Typically, we do the unzipping by ourselves only, and then you can read those files. But this is like, you should be aware about that. All these things are also possible in Python if needed. Then you have this text file. So actually, we have already seen a lot of these examples in last Friday class, right? So we'll just quickly cover this. So in text file, you have a plain text file format, everything is written in plain text, right? So in note, whatever file you open in notebook, notepad, right, not sorry, not notebook, not notepad or notepad plus plus, everything it gets saved with .txt format. So you can actually open it in here only. Simply, you have seen, right? You just have to open it first. Open, give the file name, tell in which mode you want to open, whether read, write, append, and then you simply read it. That's all. So all the lines will be read by your Python. Okay. Then you have JSON format. This is very interesting format and very useful as well. So why JSON? It is JavaScript Object Notation. That is the full form of JSON. JavaScript Object Notation. It is a text-based open standard design for exchanging the data over web. So if you see most of the things which is available on web, like I'm talking about in data structure format, it is actually saved in JSON format only. Very simple reason, it takes very less space and it's very easy to understand also. And we will see why I'm saying it is very easy. Okay. So JSON format is used for transmitting structured data over web. So I was telling you, right? It can actually transmit your structured data over the web. It can be easily read in any programming language because it is a language independent data format, and that's another reason why it is used so much. There is, I mean, you can read, right? You can read and simply understand what I'm trying to say here. If you read it simply, it is saying एम्प्लॉय है, एम्प्लॉय का डेटा है, एंड यू हैव आईडी है, नेम है एंड सैलरी है, राइट? So it's easily readable. It's easy to understand that this might be one observation of one employee. This is observation of another employee. It is written in a dictionary format and it's easy to read also. Okay. तो याद आ रही है, थोड़ा थोड़ा डिक्शनरी जैसा ही है ना. पाइथन में भी डिफाइन डिक्शनरी की डिफाइन करते हैं, वैल्यू देते हैं, तो दैट्स व्हाट इट इज. दीज आर द कीज एंड दीज आर द वैल्यूज. Then again, this is the key and this is value. So you can think of it as a nested key value pairs, right? क्योंकि आप यहाँ देखोगे तो ये की वैल्यू पेयर है, तो ये एक डिक्शनरी है. तो दिस इज वन डिक्शनरी, this is one dictionary, and this employee is another. You can think of a list of, because these are list bracket, right? So this is list of multiple dictionaries put together. Now how do I read this JSON file? Simply PD does the all thing. So in fact, I told you that command, right? You can, if you really want to see what all things are there, you can simply do dir directory and give PD or pandas. So you can see what all things it can do. So all these things it can do. So read, you see, CSV, Excel, JSON. So it has JSON format also. So it can read JSON file as well. So again, so as I was saying, simply reading, you can go read.json and give the file name. That's all. That's how simple it is. Okay, cool. Then we have Excel format, XML format as well. So it is an extensible markup language. As the name suggests, it is a markup language. It has certain rules for encoding data. Okay, XML file format is a human readable, machine readable file format. It is a self-descriptive language designed for sending information over the internet. Again, XML is also heavily used in internet. It is similar to HTML, but it has some difference. It does not predefine tags as HTML. So it is very much equivalent to HTML only. So these are the simple reasons. So as you can see here, right, again, it is very easily readable for human as well as machine also. Why I'm saying that? As you can see, it says there is something called tag and there is something called value. Okay. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are from CS background and you have seen the HTML files. But if you see the HTML file of any web, right, web page, I think there is a command for me to show the, I'm just trying to, Actually, I'm trying to search a shortcut uh, where actually right side it will show you the HTML file for this web page. Uh, Let me Google that quickly. Yeah. So I think in this page, it says view page source control U. Actually, yeah, that was the actual shortcut. So you see, this is the HTML page of this web page. Okay. So, and if you really want to read and understand it, I mean, what I'm trying to say is here, this thing, and it is very much similar to XML. As you can see, they have certain tags. Okay. So what is tag? Tag typically these kind of greater than and less than sign you see, that's where you write your tags. Okay. And then you give your values, what you want to show over the net, right? So you see it is very much different, yet it is the text and everything is same. So you want to see where it is written working with CSV in Python. If I find over here, so it is written in the first line itself. So basically you are telling in this format, this machine, that how do you want to showcase your page, right? That is what the HTML language does, that it tells the machine how you want to show your page, the placement of each and everything, the placement of this button, the placement of this content, that it should be on the left side, it should not be on the middle or somewhere else, right? So everything you can code using these HTML language. Okay. And if you see, this is all also very much similar to that. Here you are telling that the tag of this is phone, where it has ended. So it is ended here. So this is the phone number. This is the analytics with there. So if you see the web page of this, only name and this, these values will be showcased. These are only reference for the machine to understand what it is and where to show it. That's all, right? So the XML version, it is a declaration in the start file. Okay. And then encoding specified this thing. So how you can read it, again in Python, you can simply so you have to call now a different library for this. This is called XML tree element tree. So because it is in a tree structure, if you see here, so we typically we call XML tree or HTML tree. It is in a structure format, right? So it's a tree format. So that's where you can call this library, and you can simply do the parsing and give the link. Give the link of the file and say you just have to parse it, and you will be getting the tag. So you don't worry about these two things like XML and HTML if you are not getting along of this. So today only we will learn how do we do web scraping. So that time these things will be more clear. So web scraping is nothing but I give you a link, and Python automatically right? Scrape all the data from that web link automatically in Python. And this is what which is very much used, heavily in this, right? Which very much heavily used. Okay. And you typically for whatever you do, Twitter analysis, right? Or so like this is very much heavily used in for the Twitter analysis. Why? Because what you do is you give just one page on the Twitter where you want to get all the tweets whatever is there, and you just want to get that in Python. Do you think that somebody might be copy pasting it one by one? No, right? So you need these kind of mechanism for to work, that I am giving you just one link, you get all the data whatever is available in that link, and just work with that. So we call it as web scraping, and we will learn that today. Okay, so that time these things will be even more clear, these formats. So again, HTML, it is very much similar to XML format. And to read it, there are again standard libraries about it. Then you have image, right? How do I read image? Okay. So usually image files are three-dimensional and having RGB values. Okay, but they can also be a two-dimensional grayscale, that is nothing but black and white, or four-dimensional having intensity, right? So typically in now era we have everything in 3D, right? I mean, we have colored pictures. Nobody uses now black and white pictures. So if it is black and white, then you call it a two-dimensional, it's a grayscale. But if it is three-dimensional, it's RGB values. So how Python understand it? So if I tell you, you can read whatever kind of data you want in Python, but ultimately it will be converting everything into numbers only to process it. And that's the hard truth. Not hard truth, I mean, that's the truth. Okay. No matter you give text, it will convert into numbers in some, and we will learn that how does it do it. It doesn't generate any random numbers and give that value. No, it has a lot. There are certain algorithms to do those conversion, and sometimes it is, mostly it is logical, that why do I have to convert it. Simple, take the example of image also, it is converted into numbers. Why? Because it says, right, everything, all the color, if you have heard of, are made up of the primary colors. There are only three main primary colors: RGB, red, green, blue. Any color is the combination of these three colors in certain intensity or other thing, right? All other colors are secondary colors. And that's the reason why there are only RGB, three-dimensional colors only. Because other, let's say if this color, blackish color, right, if I want, so I know blue का intensity या जो blue का value है वो थोड़ा ज़्यादा होगा बाकी other two के comparison में. Simply white है तो white के proportion में I think red ज़्यादा होता है और blue कम होता है. So that kind of combination of all these three values will be making a unique color, and that's how that information is stored. So again, if you see image, even though you have passed it at an image, but how Python has understood is, have you heard of term called pixel? कि पिक्सल फट गए हैं. ये लो एमबी का इमेज था, आपने ज्यादा रेजोल्यूशन में देख रहे हो तो पिक्सल्स फट गए हैं, ज्यादा बड़ी स्क्रीन पे देख रहे हो लो रेजोल्यूशन का तो पिक्सल्स फट जाते हैं, राइट? सो व्हाट डज इट मीन? every image is divided into a certain small checkers. In fact, agar aapke paas, if you guys have remembered in previous TVs, when you does not have such a high resolution TVs or big screen TVs, आपके टीवी में पिक्सल्स दिखते थे, those small checkers. Okay, so how Python read it? Exactly the same way. It divides your entire image into small pixels, and every pixel has a unique value of R color, green color and blue color. That's why it is three-dimensional, and that's why it knows that, let's say this is small cell you see over here, it is this particular color, it is this particular color, like that. So like that, why is it stores this information about your image. Okay, but again, this is all these is things are too much technical, so I'm just, why I'm going so much in depth, that all these things should be, come naturally to you, that okay, it is reading, some function is reading it, right? But exactly what it is doing, it is also important to understand, right? uh, Even without knowing all this, you can read those images. So that is absolutely you can do, but it's just that you should be aware about it, that what exactly it does, right? So that's the reason I always try to give more information than needed, right? So let's take this example. Okay, let's try to read one image, how we can do it. So there is this library called SkyPy, which you can use for reading the image. So let's try doing that. So pandas, numpy, all these are only for numbers, data frames, and all these things, not for images or for audio or for video, or for PDF for that matter. Once you do the conversion, then you can definitely use all these pandas, numpy libraries, right? So there is this library called SkyPy. From there, you can call this MISC. So, then and here you just have to uh, call this misc.face function. Okay, and here you have to give the file name, right? So what is the image? So okay, I think this is for saving, but I just want to load it. Wait, just a second. This is for saving, but let's do that, okay? So I think it will cover both saving also, and so you can save the image and load that image again, right? So let's say if I want to save it, I can simply run this library. It has given me error that has no attribute I am saved, right? So what does it mean? That whatever function I'm trying to call within this library, it does not have this attribute I am saved. So there can be two reasons. Either I don't have this library properly installed in my system, or there is a version difference that it is that, I mean, that this attribute or this particular function is not there for me. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's see if there is another library to load it, or what we can do is, or let's do one thing. Now let's give this error. So as I always tell you, right? And again, one more thing. So on Friday we learned, right, different type of error handling. So you see, this is the attribute error because it is telling that it does not have this attribute. So let's simply copy this error and search it in Google and see what does it tell you. So somebody also has faced the similar thing. So this is Stack Overflow. It's a very good website. As I was already, I think I already told you, 90% of the problem which you get, which you face, you will get the answers over here. In fact, 90 to 95%. Okay. So somebody also has faced this similar problem around 8 years back. My God. Okay. Then so if so the how to read it, so typically in the beginning, the person whoever has posted this, they will also tell you the problem, so you can read through it, that they have also faced the similar thing, blah blah blah, right? So how do I get the solution of this? So the solution is this. So they are saying that SkyPy have been deprecated in newer SkyPy version. Yes, so this is the answer. So actually this blog, if I see, might be very old, and so when somebody wrote it, so that's why they use it. But now here it is clearly told that it has been deprecated. So deprecated means they have removed these function, and when somebody has removed it, that's the reason it is telling that now it is not able to find it. Because I have installed this very recently, right? Actually I updated all the libraries very recently. That's the reason it is not able to find in my system. So it is giving me another thing. It is giving me that you can try it out this way. So you can use, instead of SkyPy library, you can use image.io library. So image.io library is also for the same input and output. So you can call the image.io library and do the I am right and just the same thing. Okay. So let's try that out. Okay. So let me see. Okay, only this line was giving error, right? This line has run successfully. So let me see what it has saved in F. Okay. So you remember I was telling you everything is number. So you see, this is a image and it is all in numbers. And if you see, it is a 3D array. Why it is a 3D array? This is one thing, right? This is one dimensional, right? This then that because it might be showcasing you one color. Then it is a second dimension. Wherever you see the second bracket, right, that might be the G color, third dimension. And then there is this third dimension, third bracket, you see, that's where it is. And you can check it out with F dot shape. It will tell you it is three dimensional. Last thing is three dimensional. So it has 768 uh, rows, 1024 columns, and three arrays. I mean, three dimension. In the third dimension, it is three. Okay, so that's how your image was like this. Now let's try to save this image. Okay, so I will simply give this F over here because I have to pass an array, and I can give this file name as test. Okay, I think I will not have this. Okay, I already had it, so that's why it has saved. Now let's go into the folder and check it out. So it has saved this test. It has just now it saved it. So let me open this. So you see, it's a image. This image it has saved. Okay, so this was about saving. And how do I now read it back in Python? Simply, I can do it like this, right? So I just use the plot functions only. So there is something called plot im show, image show. Im matlab image show, and I have just given the array. So that's what I was telling you. Everything is a number for Python. No matter if it is an image, video, audio, or a text. It will convert everything into a number and save it. And then accordingly, it will open and it will show you the things, whatever is there. Okay. Any questions? I'll just take a 1 minute break if there are any question. Somebody ask a question. Can I call image to my PC storage area? I'm not sure what do you mean. I mean, I am also, I just showed you how to store it in your system. If you are referring to some other folder, yes, you can. All you have to do is just give a file name with that. So basically here, I gave this file name, right? You have to give the entire file path where you want to save. So that's C users, your folder name, or wherever you want to save it, just give that full path over here and then it will save it there. If that's what you were asking. Okay, any other questions? No question? Okay, then let's get going. Sorry. Yeah, so image thing is done. We already saw what is the type, shape, and the array and all, right? Okay, now there's something called HDF. Again, it is very less used, but I mean, yeah, just for the sake of completeness, we should know about it. So HDF is hierarchical data format. You can store a large amount of data easily over here. It is not only used for storing high volume or complex data, but also storing for small volumes or simple data as well. So what is the advantage of HDF? Uh, it can be used in every size and type of the system. It is flexible and many supports HDFs. So there are multiple HDF format presents. Uh, HDF5 is the latest version, which is designed to address some of the limitation of other HDF format, right? Mm. So mostly it is of whenever you have very heavy or very big data. So typically that time HDF is used. Now, how do you read it? Simply, there is some in pandas, there is something called read underscore HDF as well. And you can just give the file name, that's all. It is very much similar to your Excel and all other data type. Just that whenever something is very big in size, you can switch to HDF5. And again in pandas, simply there is something called read underscore HDF, which you can use it. Okay. Now coming to another important file format, that is PDF. PDF is portable document format. It is also again incredibly used full format for interpretation and display of text, right? So that's how a PDF look like. Now, how do I read it? Over here in Pandas, you have multiple libraries, PDF Miner, PDF to text. Typically, we use both of them, right? For some of the other reason, like sometimes PDF Miner works because if you see PDFs, right, these are actually very complicated files. These look simple, but it is complicated. Simply why? Because it has a mix of text, it has a mix of table, it has a mix of image, it has a mix of numbers. So there are a lot of other things which is going on. In fact, in PDF also, if you observe, it is not always written in, like always not from left to right. There are something, if you might have observed in research paper or somewhere, it has written in a column format, that in one page you have two main columns, and then within that also I mean, I'm asking about reading the continuity wise, right? So let me, I'm not sure if I will have any that kind of PDF, But what I meant is उस तरीके के पीडीएफ होते हैं ना, लाइक यू हैव column wise text, right? Within one page also you have one column where you have to write, and then again next page will be starting on the same page but with a different column, right? So that column, so that kind of complexity is there in pdf. So it is easy to understand for us that okay, because of the spacing or because of the layout, but how machine will know, right? So that's why you have these multiple PDF readers, and you have to be careful when you are choosing, right? Because sometimes PDF minor might work, sometimes PDF to text might work. But again, I mean, if you really want to use it or read it, then simply you can just call these functions, right? And just load the PDF files. That's all. Okay. So that these are the libraries to read PDF files. Then you have docs file. Right, advantage of a docs file over pdf is that it is editable, right? You can change docs file to any other format also. Again, reading the docs file, there is something called docs to text. Just like pdf to text, simply you have docs to text library. You can install it, load it, and simply docs to text process and give the file name. That's all. Okay, likewise you can read pdf, you can read documentary. Then you have MP3 file format. That's nothing but your audio files, right? They comes under multimedia file format. Okay. These are similar to image formats, but they happen to one of the most complex file format. So in multimedia file format, you can store variety of data such as text, graphical, video, audio, right? Uh, RTF also rich text format data rather than ASCII, which is a plain text format, right? Uh, so most common is audio as well, right? MPG, moving pictures experts group. So all these things can be read. So there is in this library called PyY Media, which you can use to read these files. So all these links are given over here. If you really want to go in detail, and let's say you want to explore mostly how to you reread the audio file and all, you can simply go here. This will tell you how you can actually use this PyY media file. So this is about installation and all. Then how do you just simply load any audio as well, right? Then you have MP4, that is a video file format, right? How do you read it? Simply there is library called MoviePy, right? So from where you have to call video file clip and just give the MP4 file over here. That's all. Let me see if I have any MP4 file. I can try loading that for you, but I think I will not have. But if you have any, if you're interested to read, you can simply do it with this way. Okay. So these are all the possible things which is possible in Python and can be done, right? So then we will be just a second. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So all these formats are possible in Python to read and process them. So then we will be now going further detail in uh, with some of the files with CSV, XLS, and I think because that is something we are going to use a lot. So CSV, JSON, and XLS file. And yes, one more thing, we can actually connect it to the our software system as well, and we will also we will be exploring. So I'll just take a 2-minute pause if you guys have any questions. Any question related to this? Okay, I think I got a question from Abhishek Chandrasekhar. So he's saying that he's a fresher from civil engineer background and want to do data science. Yes, you can. There is no the nothing from the back. I am from mechanical background, if that helps you. So I did my masters. Even I did my masters in manufacturing, and basically it was a robotics. So, and yet I am doing the data science right now. It's just that you should be able to learn, capable of learning. If you should have that interest to learn all these things, because whatever, if you start right from the basic, if you see all the concepts, these are very small, I mean, simple and clear. If you start take it in from basic, is what I'm saying. And once you go over it, it will be really helpful for you. You know, you can definitely build your career, because I mean, I learned on job. I did had zero knowledge about data science when I was reading, okay, or when I was in college. So I learned it on job. I start just that you have to put extra effort. So with along with job, I have to dedicate my weekends or whenever I had time to know the statistical concepts, then to learn about coding also. Yes, so you should be knowing a little bit of coding. Even though you don't, then you have that you know extra time and extra dedication to learn the coding as well. And I'm not saying that you have to be very good in coding. No, if you just know very basic programming or whatever I'm telling you, right, this is also very basic. If you are able to understand this much, you should can be it is doable. Okay, fine. So somebody said repeat JSON format. Okay, that I will do. Somebody said what is fatal error? Fatal error, I mean, are you getting any kind of error? Then I think it would be helpful for me to uh, tell you very specifically. Otherwise, fatal error is not, I mean, it's an error, right, which you might be getting. So if you can tell me where you are getting, I can try to help you out with that. And I can definitely repeat the JSON format. I think JSON format I will be telling you in detail. So just wait a second. CSV, JSON, MySQL, and XLS. I will be on anyhow. I will be teaching you in detail. Okay, so I think that will be covered. If not anything else, then we can get started, right? So I will let's start with CSV format, right, in detail. So how do we work with that? So I selected these few formats which I feel in my day-to-day job I use a lot. So I thought it will be useful that if I can take you in detail, because as I said, right, all these image, PDF, audio, video, it looks fancy, right, but not most of you, or I mean, I can tell you that I have worked only on two or three project, hardly on all other formats, because those are not very much heavily used as of now. I mean, they are gonna be, that there is no doubt about it. But so far, most of our data is only in CSV and JSON and Excel files, right? So, and that's what we use in day-to-day life. So I thought of just teaching you that in more detail, all those different formats. Okay, so you already know what is CSV, right? So then in CSV, how do we read the file? Simply we did out read CSV. You can do that way. There is another method also, like with open. So just now we saw this format for text file, right? Same way you can do it here also. First you have to open the file, then you have to read it. So how to do go about it? Simply with open, and then you give the file name, you give the mode that you just have to read, right? So you do that, and you save this as a CSV file. So let's say you have read this file and saved it as CSV file. So this is a variable name you are giving, right? Then again, simply in a CSV reader, so there is something called import CSV. So CSV reader, you are just giving that file. That's all. Then you are simply giving the next, like these files you are appending it, because this is line by line reader, right? So line by line you are reading it and you are appending it. Again, this is good for no knowledge, like this is just your FYI. Nobody is going to use this. Now you tell me, when I have already told you one line command pd.read CSV, which will be reading all your files, I mean all your lines in one shot. why do you need this 10 line of codes, right? Just to read a file when I have already given you a substitute that is pd.read.csv. Okay. So this might be this exists before somebody discovered that pandas read CSV, right? And who knows, if you go just check the pandas library, हो सकता है जो read underscore CSV command है ना, it might be doing the exact same thing. Somebody has done the job for you. Somebody has already encapsulated all these 10 line of code in just one function and say कि आप बस pandas read CSV call करो and that's all. So all these things now, see, all these sessions are actually related. So now you might be thinking that I'm going back to the Friday session, that is modules, but all these things are related. Okay, cool. So again, I mean, this is available, but I would recommend you use directly pt.read.csv to read a file. Right now, as you read a file, you can actually see in notebook how does it look like, right? By simply printing the data in it. So this is a, CSV file. That's how you can read it in a CSV reader. So here line by line they are telling you what they have done, right? So they are reading it. Now they are going next. So next means this is a iterable thing, right? And we saw this when we were reading functions. If you remember, in functions we learned iterators, right? That one by one it will go, this next will continue to go till let's say if there are 10 rows, then 10 times it will work. After 11th time it will say that it has already hit the bottom, so it has read completely, and then it will stop. Okay, and then you are appending it, you are actually in rows, and then you are checking those rows, right? So that's how you can read the file, right? Writing the file, again, it is a simple thing, so I'm not gonna explain you here. I'm gonna tell you very simple way. So यहाँ पर आपने data है, आपने इसको read किया है. If I have to save this file, simply what I will do, data dot to CSV. So if you press a tab, you can see in which format you want to write. So CSV, JSON and all. So again, this is a part of pandas library. तो हो सकता है somebody has already done the exact same thing which you are seeing in here and encapsulated in to CSV. We will simply do to CSV में and give the file name. So let's say test1.csv I want to save. That's all. Then now you open the same folder. You see test1 has been saved. It has been saved. So it has saved this extra index column also by default. If you want to avoid it, you can say index false. So you can give here index equal to false. So your that index will not come now. You see now that index is not coming. Clear? So that's how you save your CSV file. Okay, let's see what other things. So here they are telling you the bigger way to do it. Just that open, then put it in a write mode, file name, then do a CSV writer. Line by line it will go, write row fields, and then it will just writing the fields, and then it is writing the data. Okay, cool. Uh, Fine. Then what it is? Okay, so we already know simple commands, so we are not gonna do this. Okay, so yeah, so I think this is what the pandas thing which we have already learned. So I'm just checking if there is any other new thing which I should be telling you, because I mean these things are good to know, but you already know the advanced version, so there is no point of understanding all these things or going through all these things when you already know very simple and easy to use commands, right? But anyhow, I'll be sharing all these links in the presentation. So if any of you is really interested, you're feel free to go through it and learn more. So this was about the CSV. Now let's understand JSON. So some of you were asking JSON, right? So let's try to read the JSON. Just give me one moment. I'll get some water. I hope I'm audible. Yeah. So JSON file, yes, we are going to repeat. Sorry. Yep. Yeah, for JSON, one way I told you that pandas में already है read JSON करके, that you can do, or there is another way. So there is another library, dedicated library for JSON, that is import JSON. You can do it, and then you can use that files. So let's try the both ways. Okay. So let me create a JSON file first. I think I should have already created. Okay, so I already have this sample JSON file. Let me see what is there. Uh, okay, I have a sample JSON file. That's fine. Let's try to read that file. Okay. So one way to read that file is what? Let me say file one. I can do pd dot read JSON. Okay. Then I can simply have sample dot JSON file. It has read successfully. You can see over here. It has read it like that. And so it has actually read it in a data format because it is part of pandas library, which is for data frame. Now let's use the other way, that is import JSON. Okay, and see यहाँ से हम कैसे read कर सकते हैं इसको. So इसका है JSON load. Okay, so how do I do it? Let me say file 2 JSON dot loads. Okay, expecting value. Let me see whether it was a load. Okay, let's see what is the problem. Employ this. Okay, okay, got it. I'll show you what is the problem. Let me. This was loads, right? Okay. So what is the problem here is ये जो JSON है, it expects this particular function expects it to be in a format of string. Let me show you what here it is. Tell me one thing, is it a string? String क्या होता है according to Python? I have always tell, right? String is something which has to be in a quotes. Entire thing into be a quotes. हम इसको बोलते हैं JSON string. Okay. Now let's see. Let me save it like this and see whether it now it is able to read it or not. Now I have what I did. I just simply added the quotes of my previous dictionary. Okay, and we call it as JSON string. Okay, so if I load this, let me see if it works. No, it has not worked. Why? Uh, just give me a moment. Yeah. Let's go back to the error. So it is saying expecting line 1, column 1, character 0. Okay, let's use their example and see one by one. Okay, we will come back to this error later. Okay, we'll try to resolve it. Okay, just give me a moment. Let's try their way. Okay, first, and then we will try to resolve this. Okay. So what it is saying, I have just defined the string only, JSON string. So this is a JSON string. This is not a JSON format. Try to understand the difference. The only difference is, अगर आप यहाँ quotes नहीं लगाते हो, it will become a JSON format. And as soon as you have put a string, it is a JSON string. Okay. Now if you want to convert this and load it in a dictionary format, we can do it. Let's see. So what it does, it is a JSON string which I defined, and when I simply do JSON dot loads of this dictionary, it worked over here. Okay. So it might happen that maybe this command is not there for reading the file. We will come back to that. Okay. It might happen that I'm suspecting. Okay. So where it is able to read the string from within here. It might, what I'm trying to say is, it may happen that there is a different command for loading the file. Okay. So here, if you want to load, this JSON string which is available over here, you can do that by this, right? And then this is the dictionary. As you can see here, it is a JSON format, and type also, if you see, it is a dictionary, and yeah, that's all. Then what do you have? Now you have to convert this into JSON and then dump it. Okay, got it. So yeah, I think that was the problem. I will explain you again what is the problem. Okay. So now what we are doing here is, this employee dictionary, I just have to convert into a JSON object, right? And then you will see the difference. Okay. So now if I print, now you are seeing the difference between the two. So this was a simple dictionary, and this is a JSON object. Okay. Here, because now I have converted this using this JSON dot dumps, right? And when I print this type of the object, now it gives me that it is a string. Okay. Sorry. Fine. Now, how do I save it? So again, this is same. Then, okay. Yeah. Okay. So here the problem, what was happening is, this JSON dot load is not for loading the JSON format file, right? That is what the error it was giving me, that it is expecting line 1, column 1. Okay, so it is saying JSON decode error. It is not able to decode this because we were using wrong command for long purpose, right? I thought this load is simply I can load like I did it over here, right? And if I now read it here, it will give me error because I have converted into a string. It has to be in a JSON format. So first of all, I have to remove it from here, and I have to save it so that pandas will work over here. This particular function will work, right? So now it has worked. Now this function, this JSON load, does not work like this. There is another function for that, and which we will learn after some time. Okay. So what this JSON library does is, if there is a string and you want to convert it into a JSON format, that you can do. And how to do that is, simply you do JSON dot loads, and you can actually just load it and put it in a JSON format. So that's what you can do for loading the string, or even for dumping it into the JSON. So converting Python dictionary to JSON, you simply do JSON dot dumps. Dump is for converting it, and this is for loading. Okay. So this is for string. Python को हाँ Python dictionary में कैसे convert करते हो string को? So that is there. Once you have converted a string into a Python dictionary, then you can convert it into a JSON format. So this is a two-step method to convert your whatever is the dictionary or string into a JSON format, right? So once you do that, now you can work with it. Now, what all different things you can do with this is, uh, one thing is, you can definitely convert it into a JSON format, right? Then these are all the dumps function which they have used. So they are showing you different values, what all you can dump, right? Then you can do the serializing of the JSON file. So what is the serialization? So process of encoding JSON is usually called serialization. This term refers to the transformation of the data into series to be stored or transmitted across a network. To handle the data in a flow, JSON library in Python uses dump function to convert Python object into respective JSON object. So basically, dump function is used when you want to convert your Python object into the JSON objects. Okay, so that you can easily write them into the files. So what all different things are there? Python object जिसको आप JSON object में convert कर सकते हो. Dictionary we saw, right? Then you have list or tuple which you can convert in an array object, string, then integers, true, false, all these Boolean numbers, you can actually convert them into the JSON, right? So let's take this example, right? I think this is the example what I had in my notebook. Okay. Then if you really want to open this JSON file, right? That's how you should be doing. So actually, I was doing it a wrong way, as I said, right? This is how you should be, okay, so this is for saving actually. So let's say if you already have this in your Python, how you can save it? Just by doing this command. What is that command? First of all, you have to open a file and you have to write it. So these things are same, right? When what we learned in file management operations, right? That which mode you want to do, read or write. So you just give the file name, you give the mode, that is write mode, right? And then say you tell what is this entire function. So you say this is p. Now you just dump it. JSON dot dump the variable whatever you want to save, and just that's all. So whatever you are giving here, it will be saved in a JSON format. Okay, so dump is for saving it. Okay, and if you want to read it, it is just the other way around, that is deserialization, and this is what you should be doing. So it is JSON dot load only, but you have to read it line by line. मैं उसको file दे रही थी, that's why it was not working. But now let's say if you want to read it, this is the function you should be using and it will work. So I already have a file, this sample.json file, and I want to do it in a read mode, right? And this entire thing I'm calling it as read it. And simply I just have to go json.load, read it. That's all. If I go about it, it has run successfully. And if I do data, it has read it over here, right? If I do type of data, it will be dictionary because it is a Python object. It is a JSON object, but when you load it in Python, it is a Python object. That is dictionary. Clear? But again, as I said, simple one is pd.read JSON, but the difference you have seen. So it may happen that most of the times most of the times it is fine that you work with data frames. But let's say if you don't want to create it into a data frame, right? Because if you see the type over here of F1, it is not a dictionary, it is data frame. Let's say if you want to convert and use it in a dictionary, either you can convert it like that or you can use this method. So it is up to you. There are two methods. Okay, either you can use directly pandas library, okay, or you can do this way, because this way also you can save it using pandas, right? To JSON, there was this function to underscore, then it shows you that you have to convert it. You have to save it. Just wondering why it is not showing. Oh, dictionary has not the way. So you have to convert into a data frame and then only you can save it as a JSON file. So that is, so yeah, that's why it is like, so actually both ways it is a two-way process, right? So what happens is this pandas library is only for data frames, correct? So that's why when you load any JSON file, it will be in the pandas. I mean, it will be in a data frame. So if you want to convert into a dictionary, you can do it using f1.to dictionary is there, right? So to dictionary you can do, and if you just uh, do like that, right? A equal to this, and if you print this A, you will see you have converted into a dictionary. So you can do that, or other good thing could be you just import the JSON. Therein you can define a library, whatever function you want to do. Either you can write it, or if you already have a JSON file, you can load it like that. Clear? Any confusion so far in JSON formats? No, it is not, right? Just now we saw only for using JSON dot dumps or JSON dot loads. So that loads means actually the S at the end, it is for string. Then only you need JSON string. Otherwise, simply JSON dot dump or simply JSON dot load, you can, it don't have to be in a string. It can be a dictionary also. So just now you saw, right? We read this file. It is not a string, and we read it using JSON library. Okay, cool. Any other questions? No? Okay. Fine. So let's do one thing. Let's take a quick 5 minutes break and we'll get back to it. Okay. So try to come at around 12:30, 32, right? Then we'll get started. Let's take that quick break. Yeah, hello everyone. Okay, I hope everyone is back from the break. So let's first address some of the questions. So some of you asked, one of person you asked about Excel, how to read it, right? So I have already told you. There is already a command in Pandas uh, from which you can get the data. So let me show you one example, right away. So I have this uh, data over here, right? So let me see. So this Excel file I have, right? This is a .xls file. Okay. So if I want to read this file, I can simply do this in pandas using here d1 equal to pd dot read. Then you can see XLS. You just have to give Excel file. That's all. That's it. This is the data. This is the data which is there in that file. So you already got it. Now you can work on this data and get going with that. Okay. So I hope that the same. Wait. I think I'm not sure sharing. Sorry. Let me repeat. I hope now screen is visible. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Sorry about it. I forgot to reshare it. Yeah. So as you can see, I had this Excel file with me in my folder. So I can simply load this using pd.read XLS file and I can just see the data. So this is the data in that file. So whatever is there, you can do that. And I can in fact do this. So if there is not multiple sheets, it will be just loading by default whatever is the default sheet. But let's say if there are multiple sheet, you can give the sheet name as well. So let's take in this case, it is universities is the sheet, right? And let's say let me create another sheet over here with uh, sheet 1. Okay, let me save it, right? So let's say if I don't do anything, right? So it gives me error. Uh, Sorry, no, yeah. So so by default, it has read the first sheet. But let's say if you want to read it second sheet or some other sheet, you have to give clearly sheet name. So what is the sheet name? So there is a second sheet called sheet, I think 1 or _1. I'm not sure what was that. Yeah, I think sheet 1 only. So now if you see, it has read. So there was only few rows, not the entire thing, right? I just copied 10 rows. So that's how you can read the Excel file by giving the sheet name. I hope that's what you were asking. Now also screen is not visible. No, right? Screen is visible. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay. So that's what about the Excel file. Then coming back to JSON, yeah. So we learned how to we create the JSON and how do we write it, right? So we call this process as deserialization or serialization. So that we already know. Right. Then what else? Uh, then I think yeah, that's pretty much about the JSON files. Then another thing which I wanted to walk you through is the SQL, MySQL. So far whatever we are learning, right, it is the offline data, right? Or why offline? Because you are getting this data somewhere or the other, but it is not changing. At least it is not changing in the real time. Okay. So and what if you want to work on something, from the database, that you want to get the data which is changing or from the server. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware about database management system. So SQL or there are so many other management system as well, which is available, which store your data. So all these data, whatever you are seeing in Excel or CSV format, right? Most of the time it is there in some or the other servers. And why do we need it? Because of the size of the data, the real time it is getting feeded in the data system, right? तो आप जब भी shopping के लिए जाते हो, right? And they store your information in system. What do you guys think where it is going? They are not maintaining any Excel. If you are thinking so till now that they are maintaining some kind of Excel, forget about it, you are wrong. because they cannot handle such a heavy data in Excel file. So होता क्या है, and moreover they are all around the India, right? They cannot work on the same time on the same file, isn't it? So there has to be a central storage database management system जिसमें भी वो entry करते हैं, and it gets saved over here, and it can be saved simultaneously also, because it is very likely that बिग बाजार में आप शॉपिंग कर रहे हैं, देर आर अदर, क्योंकि आप खुद ही देखते हो, राइट? इफ देर आर 10 lines, 10 people are entering the data at the same time, isn't it? Do you think it is feasible if they are working offline, or maybe let's say Google Sheet? Google Sheet भी आपको नहीं allow नहीं करता. It will allow you that you get the change first, which has been before, and then only you can work on that. So if somebody is making changes on that on the same sheet, you cannot work on that same sheet. Okay, so these are the challenges when you work on offline data, or these kind of things. And that's the solution, is the database management systems. So there you can do multiple entries at the same time, change the data, modify the data at the same time, right? Then how do Python connect it in the real time? So Python can also connect in the real time. Okay, so one way is you when everything is done, whenever you want to do analysis, you simply download the data in CSV and Excel format, and just now we saw how to handle those in Python. Then you can work on it. But let's say if you have a requirement where you want to work offline, I mean online, right? You want to work in real time, then you can actually directly connect to those servers and you can work with it. Right. So I'm just giving, so there are MongoDB, MySQL. So I'm just giving you an example of MySQL only for now. Okay, because both of them are similar, just that MySQL is very popular, and that's the reason I'm walking you through that how do you connect to that server and how do you get the data. Again, it is very much simple. All you have to do is just follow the steps. That's all. Okay. So how you can connect? So for connecting, you will need few things. Okay. So how do we log in our system, right? Let's say if it is password protected, it asks for your username, right? So it asks for your username, it asks for password. It's like you entering in your email. आप जब जीमेल पे लॉग इन करते हो, इट आस्क फॉर दोज थिंग्स, राइट? आपका जीमेल आईडी क्या है, जीमेल पासवर्ड क्या है, क्योंकि वेबसाइट पे आप जाते हो पहले, isn't it? So it needed three things, majority of them. Where is the location? That is, what is the host? Where is the host? So आप host कैसे पता करते हो? आप directly Gmail टाइप कर देते हो, या let's say some other website. मान लीजिए आपको कोई और वेबसाइट पे जाना है, let's say HDFC. Okay, HDFC नेट बैंकिंग करना है आपको, तो you went to this website. So this, what is this? This is host. Okay, then you give your user ID and then you give your password. Correct? These are the three things you have to give. Same thing over here also. Same thing you have to give over here. That what is your host name? मतलब कि आपका डेटा कहाँ पर है? What is the username and what is the password? That's all. So आप ये तीनों चीजें देते हो. आप एक MySQL library का हम import करते हैं. There is a connector in that, and in that connector we are giving all this detail, because connector को ये detail लगेगा, right? I mean, think like अगर आप login करते manually, how will you do? You need website, you need username, you need password to make the connection. Correct? As soon as you have given this and you have said that database print, so if you will do that, you will see it has made the connection. I cannot give you a live demo because I don't have account, because typically these accounts are paid. So some of either of your company or some big organization, they pay for it to get the licensing and all. So I don't have it as of now. I mean, my personal I'm talking about. And I, of course, I cannot share the office ones. So, but I mean, if and in future, if you really have to work on it, this is the way to do it. Okay. So you have to set up the connection. Once you have set up the connection, you will see something like that. That connection has been made. Okay. Now you can get the data, create the database, fetch the database, anything, whatever you want to do, you can do that. So then it will work exactly same like how you are reading the Excel file, right? That way you can just get the table name, so that that data will have some name, right? You can give the data name, and you can say that how many records you want to fetch, and all these things you can do directly using Python. So again, this is a very detailed topic, like how to give that thing everything, right, of SQL. So that is not the scope of this thing, right? And I'm not gonna take you over there. Just that I'm telling you how to go about it. You can actually connect to those servers directly from your Python by giving this. Once you have set up the connection, then you can give those queries. So we call it as SQL queries. Okay. So for example, here you are telling that you have to create the table. Similarly, let's say if some database or table is already created, get the records, like that. So you can say that select these many records from this table. That's all. So it will be, you will be getting the data in your Python, and you can work on that. As simple as that. Clear? Any questions regarding this server related things? No? Okay. Then we have already seen Excel file, right? But let me show you some more examples of Excel. Let's go to this top link. So how, processing the Excel file, right? So we already saw I mean, how do we read all these files, right? So simply read.excel file, you can read the data in your data set. If you don't give anything, by default, it will take the first sheet. But let's say if there is any other sheet, you can give the sheet name and read the data. Okay. Then within the data, how do we work on all these things? So simply, I think we will be more capturing this in detail when we are going to learn about Pandas library. But just to give you a quick snapshot, how do we select multiple rows from the data, how to work on the data? You can simply do that by using location method. Okay, so if we use multi-axis indexing method dot location, so a dot loc means location. All I want is this was first, third, or fifth. Let's say this function which I want, right? So first, third, fifth row I want, and I don't want all the columns. So I can just give the column names, that salary and names I want. So I can simply print that. Okay. So let's say if this was a bigger data set, and I just wanted to print only the first, third, and fifth number of rows, and with only salary and name in it. So that's what I can do over here. Okay. Fine. Then you can actually open multiple Excel sheets. So as I was telling you, right, in one shot also you can open multiple Excel sheet. How I can do that? Simply आपके पास एक ही फाइल है, उसमें मल्टीपल शीट है, तो या तो आप उसको वन बाय वन करके करो, राइट, और आप ये विथ कमांड से भी कर सकते हो. सिंपली आपका जो मेन फाइल है आप उसको दीजिए एज एक्सएलएस करके with open, आप उसको open करिए, and then within that you just do read XLS, file this and this. If you, even if you don't give this with command, I mean this with line, then also it will work. It's just that ये वाला line आपको बार बार देना पड़ेगा. Let this file you have to give over here every time. Okay. So you can read multiple sheets within the same Excel file. Okay. And what else? Yeah. So yeah, I think these were the main ones. So yeah, we have already covered this. Then there is something called date and time. Yeah, this is also another important thing. So far whatever we have done, right, it is mostly या तो numbers होता है या और चीजें होता है, right? But whenever it is a date and time thing, right? I'm sorry, I was just checking. Yeah. So date and time thing. So it is important that we maintain the format. Okay, and I think Friday also we discussed about it in module, that there are various modules, date time available for it. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly brush up on that. So, whenever, so you can just call this function, this library, and let's say whenever in your data, be it CSV or Excel file or somewhere else, if you want to maintain the data type, that is date, you can actually convert your date numbers or that column into this using this. Okay, you just have to do date time dot and pass that variable. Okay, and I think, yeah, we have already captured this, so that is also fine. Cool. With that, now we have moved on to the last topic for today, that is web scraping. So I was telling you, right? What is web scraping? How do we do about it, or what is that? How do we go about it? So, as I was telling you, I'll repeat again. So web scraping is, let's say you see this content over here, right? आप ये content देख रहे हो यहाँ पर. Now, if I want to read this content in Python, how do I go about it? We call it as web scraping. Okay, and why do I need it? I gave you very classic examples that, let's say if I have to do the sentiment analysis of tweets on some page, or reviews on some page, I'm not gonna copy paste one by one into some data so that I can read in Python, right? There has to be a direct connection, isn't it? So we call it as web scraping. And please remember, uh, everything you can work offline, but this web scraping and this connection thing, what I told you, you will need internet. Think like that. आप बिना इंटरनेट के क्या वो वेबसाइट खोल सकते हो? Simply, if you cannot open, then you cannot open in Python also, right? As simple as that. Python cannot give you an internet connection. You have to have the internet connection. Okay. But working on this Excel file or CSV file, whatever is there in your system, you can work it offline. You don't need an internet connection for that. Okay. But for this web scraping, you will need, because you have to continuously get the data from the website, right? So that is what the web scraping is. Now, how do we do it? So basically, there are two main important libraries which is used for web scraping. One is Request and another is Beautiful Soup. So I'm gonna quickly show you mm, the web scraping notebook. Okay, so you will need these two libraries, Request and Beautiful Soup. So if you don't have, you can simply get it. Let me just write it for you guys. Pip install Request. That's all. So I think I have already told you, but I will repeat again. So whenever you put this uh, exclamatory sign, right? These we call as magic commands. So basically, you are telling that this is a command prompt function, and you can execute it from Jupyter Notebook. Again, this is another advantage of Jupyter, that not only Python commands, but you can run or other languages command also over here by simply using these magic commands. So for command prompt, this is the magic command exclamatory sign, and you give the CMD symbol over here. Okay. Let's say if you don't want to do that, you can actually open your command prompt, that anaconda prompt, and you can give pip install over there. That is one way. Another, there is a third way. That is how, if you go to the Jupyter notebook, instead of going opening this, you see this terminal, you can even launch the terminal also. And now here, this is again, as you can see, right, this is opening a command prompt only. Now you have opened a command prompt, you can simply do over here pip install, that's a request. So I have already have it. That's why you see here it says requirements already satisfied, because I already have this request. Simply आप beautiful soap को install कर सकते हो. Once you do that, then you can import these libraries. Okay. So once you have import this, so these two libraries are very important. This makes your life easy. तो मान लीजिए हमारे पास ये एक वेबसाइट है, मेरे को इसका डेटा फेच करना है. So let me show you first what is here. So this is some links. यहाँ पे बहुत सारे links है. So there is this header and there are a lot of links also. So which leads to that. So for example, useless use of this. There is some kind of different topics, and then there are uh, links also in this, because if I click, I further go somewhere else. Right. So it is a thing you can think of. It is like a index page for all these links available with their headers. Okay. And if I see the HTML page for this, it looks something like this. Clear? You can just press Control U for to get the HTML page. So you are seeing the source page. So as you can see here, right? View source. So you are seeing the source page of this. So you can think like that. Whoever has hosting this particular website over here, right? So this is what he is feeding, he or she person is feeding in the machine. So this page is feeding and this is the output. You can think like this is input and this is output. Okay. Now let's see how we can read the same thing in Python also. Okay. So simply आप request command में जाके request dot get कर सकते हो, and request dot get करोगे and give the link. That's all. So once you do that, and when you want, so इसका attribute होंगे, and then if you want to check what it is the text over here, you can simply do the print dot text over here, r dot text, right? So as you see here, you have got that HTML page. तो अगर आप ये देखोगे तो it is pretty much same as this page. HTML language, OP, news, and all these things, right? TRID, page space, all these things. So that's what you are getting over here also. Language, this, right? Everything. So this is similar to what you are already seeing over there. So which means that it was successful. Let's say if it was not successful, I will be getting an error. Let's say I have another link which does not work. It will give me error. Okay. Wait, was this page existing? Let me see. Okay, actually it existed. That's why it opened. But let me give something which does not exist. Okay. Uh, so let me give something else. Let's say I'll just say news.com. You see, I did not print it, that's why, but it will give me error. So it says response 200. So response 200 means it does not exist. Okay, so because if I open this link, okay, new, so it opened some other new link actually, see not, but that particular news.com link does not exist. And that's why you got that response. Okay. No, sorry, wait, I think it reads, but the text, okay, it might be something else. Okay, yeah. So I have to give some, okay, I am giving you wrong examples. Let me, yeah, now it gave error. Okay, so actually news.com also it was working and it was giving you these syntax. So 200 is a good code. 200 means it is working. 404 is what the page does not exist, right? Because that's what you saw over here. Whenever you hit some link and you see that page does not exist, it will give you that request error called 404 or page not found. So that is 404 response. 200, I think it is good for good one, that it existed and it has found. Okay. So in here, if you see, I am getting this error. And in fact, if R I will print, it is saying, yeah, HTTP connection pool, that it does not exist. Okay. So it has made the connection. So this is for again setting up the connection. If I don't have internet, I will not be able to get this. you will be getting the code wherever you get, right? No internet connection, similar code you will be getting response code. So it is nothing but you can think of like you are getting some kind of a response from these websites. तो जैसे आप इनको लोड करते हो, right? When you click on this, you load them, right? The similar, you get some response, right? The page opens, you are able to read them. So same thing like that. This request library say you are trying to make the connection request dot get, and try to get the connection using this link to the website. And इसमें different attributes होते हैं, and r dot you can check what all different attributes are there. Text is one of them from which you are getting the source page, so similar to this page. Okay, cool. So now in this r dot you can check what all different things are available. So all these things are available. You can close the connection also, you can check the connection, you can check other things as well. Text है, URL is one of them, status code है. Let's see what is status code. 200 है, right? Then r dot URL होगा कि क्या URL था, right? तो मैंने इस पे URL पे पहुंच गए थे, right? So that is the URL, right? And then let me run this again so that I am on the right track. R dot URL, if I check now, this is this Y Combinator. Okay, fine. Now, first thing we need to do is inspect the hacker's news homepage to understand the structure and different CSS classes. So basically, these are different CSS classes that we will have to select. Now, as evident from the screenshot, all posting are part of tag with the class thing. So let's simplify using the find all tag. As I was telling you, right, all these are different classes जो भी आप tags में देख रहे हो. तो ये आप देख रहे हो TR करके एक टैग है, HTML करके टैग है, TD करके टैग है. All these are different tags. Okay, now it is up to you what do you want to extract from this that page. Okay, so for that these beautiful soup and helps you out how you can go about it. तो उसके लिए आपको पार्सिंग करना पड़ता है, HTML parse. तो what you can do is you pass this text to BeautifulSoup, which does this HTML parsing for you. Okay, so let's try to do this one by one. Now let's see what this soup does. Okay, so it has done the HTML parsing. So basically, again, for human, it is not that evident that what difference it has made. But as you can see, one clear difference is it has removed that indentation and all, right? So HTML था, link था, then title था. ये यहाँ पे आप proper indentation देख पा रहे थे. Now you don't see all these things over here. Mostly it has done the more from the cleaning perspective also. So it is kind of a pre-processing step. Okay. So once you do this HTML parsing, then you can actually get what you want to get out of it. So let's say my task is I want to save all the link. So there are different links, right? So if I open this, it will open a different page. So I want to save what is the title and what is the link. If I want to save it, right, how can I go about it? So simply I can check that where all those things are. Okay, so if you check this soup, it is nothing but it is text only. If I do soup ka type, what is soup type, right? Okay, so it is this beautiful soup, right? Now इसमें आप क्या कर सकते हो, find all करके ऑपरेशन होता है. What it does, it will try to find wherever there is a tr, okay, and wherever that class is a thing. So if I show you again what is there in soup, so if you see there is this tr, right? So wherever there is a line which starts with tr and there is this class a thing. So this is what we are trying to find. And why? The reason is very simple, because अगर आप देखोगे इसको बैक ट्रैक करोगे, so that, so the each line has, or each that of item has some ID, and each of that ID has the title and the link. So that is what you can see in this a link. So let's try to find that out, and then we will see one by one. Okay, so let's say I find it with this class, I think, and then tr, and I when I check all these links, right? So let me show you one link. So this is the first thing which I have got. Okay. So what else I have got? TR class a thing. With that, I have got this ID, right? Then there is this the alignment is given. Then there is class is given that it is a title. Then vertical alignment is given that it's a top. Okay, but what is the text it is written here? Is I'm trying to find out. This is the reference. So basically this is the link. तो अगर आप देखोगे तो ये same link है. Vida Rohan contents blog, right? Because when I press this useless use of DD, I call this, right? This leads to me this link, and this is the same link. And if you see here, this is the same link, right? Page 479, correct? So this is the link. Right now, where is the title? So what was the title? It was useless use of this, right? So useless use of DD. Let me search. Yeah, so it is this useless use of DD, right? Class title link. So immediately after that. So here it is, right? Immediately after this, it is useless use of DD. So this is the text. So that's what I mean. As you can see over here, right? So each of the things have class and their values are there. Okay. I mean, again, it is very difficult for me also to understand because I am not from a CS background. I don't have much of experience of HTML languages and all. But whoever has it, it's very easy for them. But the point is not to make you aware about HTML or CSS. The point to make you aware about it is doable in Python. It is readable in Python and how you can extract information. So for you, for this to work, yes, you should have a little bit knowledge about HTML also. So for example, if our job is to find out, you know, to get all the links in that along with the title, how you can do it? First, you have to get the page of the text, that source page that you can get using request.get. Go to here, and from the text, it is the source page of that particular web link. Then from the source page, you have to parse it using BeautifulSoup library for the HTML parsing. Once you do that, you have cleaned it up. Then you have to find what you want to, search in that page. So we have to search that link and everything. It is there in this tr class, I think, because every time you see a link, I mean, this is the one link, right? Then this is the second link, then this is the third link. So this is the identifier for me wherever there is a tr and there is a class, I think. So I want to find all of them, and I'm saving that in a list of links. Then simply what I'm doing, I'm getting the data. So how I'm getting the data? I have created a blank list that is formatted link. Okay. And if I show you how many links are there, length of links, let's check. It is 30. And if you were to count on this page, there will be 30, right? There are 30 titles and 30 links, right? So it has extracted all the links. So these kind of checks which you can try it out. Now within that link, we are putting a loop because one by one I have to save the information, right? So I'm creating a dictionary, and then saving that dictionary one by one into this list. Okay, because I cannot save it in a data frame, right? Because I may not know that maybe title does not exist for some of them or something else might happen. So I'm creating a dictionary and saving into a list. Now, one by one, I'm running in a for loop, right? Now, in this link, if you have to access, see, right, what it is. So link 0 I have already shown you here. Now let's say it's link 0 ka I want to get ID. I can get that use like this. Sorry, it's links. Yeah. So you see, this is the ID I have got. Okay. Now what is the type? Let's check type also. It is actually element text. It is some kind of beautiful soap element. So that's how you can access one by one. So what is the ID that you have get right? So ID is this, right? Now that is what I'm saving over here. Why I'm not giving any index over here? Because it is already one by one going. So first it will go for 0, then it will 1, then it will 2. Likewise, it will go till 30 or actually 29. Okay, so I'm saving this ID in this element. Then I'm getting title. How I'm getting title? So title is here. Title is in TD, not in TR, but it is associated with this ID or this link, right? So how can I get it? Simply link find all TD. So let's see. If I just run this, what do I get? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me define link equal to link 0 so that I don't have to run it every time. Then if I do this, link find all TD, you see, it has given all everywhere wherever your TD is coming. So it has removed this first line. It has given wherever all the TD is coming. Okay. So it has find that out. Now 3 times it is coming, right? So if you see, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, right? So where is your text? Actually, your text is in your third one. That is, I mean, index wise, it is 0, right? So here is your text. Sorry. So that's why if I do this in second, then uh, I just guess this line, right? Now within this line also, if you see, there are attributes, right? There is this dot A or something, right? Which has the reference also, A reference, correct? And it has this uh, text also. So if I do this dot A, let's see what happens. I got this. Okay, and here if I just get dot text, I get text of this. And this is what I want to save. So that's what I'm saving here in title, this line. So likewise, why I'm telling you this one by one and so slow? Because see, you may not be able to write it in one shot. Like today, if I ask you, you may not be able to write it. But if I gave you a code, you should be able to understand it. So there are two things I'm doing right now. I'm teaching you how to do the web scraping. That is the topic wise. But second thing, what I'm trying to do, I am teaching you whenever you get a new code, how do you go about it? How do you understand a Python code? So that's what even I do right now. I mean, I do today also. Let's say whenever I get a new code and I have zero idea about it, that's how I go about it. I try to run it one by one, try to understand what each and every function it is doing. But for that, I should be able to understand, right, that individual चीज को run कैसे करना है. Like I told you, first you run this only, then you add index, then you add this, then you add this, right? Because if this also you don't know, then how will you run these commands? Correct? सिमिलरली आपको यहाँ टाइटल मिला, देन आपने चेक किया होगा एच रेफरेंस करके था जहां पर कि यूआरएल था, सो यू कैन गेट द यूआरएल फ्रॉम देयर. सो यू गॉट द यूआरएल. नाउ टू गेट द रैंक, लेट्स सी व्हाट वी कैन डू. द रैंक ये बोल रहा है फर्स्ट एलिमेंट में था, तो नाउ लेट्स गो बैक. Let's again go back and check what was there in the first one. So first one is this. Okay. Yeah, so here it is saying यहाँ पर rank है ना, because it has some order, rank 1 2 till 30. So it has the rank 1. Now how do I get the rank 1? Simply let's check. It is saying that it has spen dot text dot replace. So you already know, I think, replace command, right? So replace, what replace does, it will replace this with this. Okay, and we will see why we are doing it. Let's let's do this first. Let's run only span. Let's see what it does. Span give you this. Okay, why span give you this? Because it has different attributes. So these square, these brackets you are seeing now, these kind of brackets, these are different attributes. Okay, so if I see what all different attributes are there for this, so okay, so one of them is span. So that's why you are seeing only this thing coming up for you, right? So span has come. Now within this span, I just want the text. So what is text of span? It is this one dot. That's all I want to save. It's just that I don't want to save this dot. So what I can do, I can simply replace it with anything else also you can replace. So replace, sorry, dot. I could have replaced with comma also. Sorry. So you see now there was a full stop. Now it has converted into comma. So simply I am replacing it with a blank. So that I just have the number. That's all. Okay. So this you are saving it in a rank and you are converting into integer because you know for sure, right? Rank is always gonna be integer. So that's why you are just converting into integer. That's all. Now one by one you are getting into, you are appending this into a formatted linked list. So we already know, right? There is a append option function in a list. So you can append your data in this and simply do the formatted link. So you can just check this list. So if I show you this list, how does it look like? So let's see one by one, right? Uh, so that's how it look like. ID is this, title is this, URL is this, rank is this. So what I did, actually, I have converted that website ka data into a structured format so that I can use it. So to give you a analogy, it might happen that there are 30 tweets in that page, which I want to do sentiment analysis on, right? Now, what I can do is simply I can, uh, uh, save those ID. It can be a username और आपका जो Twitter handle का जो नाम होता है, that name you can save here. You can save the title and then you, instead of rank, you can give text also, right? Sorry. सो वट एवर इस टाइटल में आपने जो भी किसी ने जो भी ट्वीट किया हो वो लैंग्वेज हो सकता है. सो दैट लैंग्वेज यू हैव सेव्ड ऑलरेडी. Then you can do the analysis of it. So you can convert this dictionary into a data frame also. So let's say now this is a dictionary, right? Now you want to work using pandas library, you can simply convert it into a data frame. How to do it? Simply pandas dot, there is this something called data frame. I think I have not called pandas library over here. So import pandas as PD and then simply pd.data frame. That's all. So you see now it has converted into a data frame. जिसमें कि आपके पूरी आईडी है, राइट? टाइटल आया है, यूआरएल आया है एंड रैंक आया है. Likewise, you can get any data from the website and you can save it in a structure format. Clear? Okay. So any question in this? Somebody has mentioned, can we use pip command in idle also? No, you cannot because that is a CMD command. Again, I'm not sure what is the syntax. Like in Jupyter, you have that exclamatory symbol, right? So that you can run pip command from thing. Just try it out. I think you should be able to directly in pip because idle is also like a command prompt only. I hope you should be able to understand it. I mean, run it directly. Just try it out. If you are getting error, then the best way to install is simply you call your Anaconda prompt, or let's say if you don't have Anaconda prompt, then simply call your CMD prompt. Then here you get your Python. Then once you do that, I think you can install here now. Okay, no, I think you won't be because you are already in Python now. So no, it won't work. So I'm not sure what is the syntax. I can try search for it and tell you what is the way to run pip command within the Python or something else, right? But ideally, that is not the way we do it. We actually, I like what is the way I can get it? Okay. Actually, directly we do it from Anaconda prompt. That's why, or directly from the command prompt also you can do. It is working. As you can see, it is working. It will tell you. Simply open your command prompt, but make sure you have your path variable set it. So in the first class, I told you, right? You have to set some path variable if it is not set for you already. So as you can see, it is downloaded and started doing. Okay, so you can run it from directly command prompt. Okay, any other questions? No questions? Like you can ask any questions from previous classes as well. Okay. So there is, I think, another uh, link. I mean, okay, this is the same link. Fine. So I think these are all the same thing. Okay, cool. Uh, mhm. So no questions, right? So actually, we have finished this topic of web scraping as well and handling multiple data files also. So just that if I start a new topic, then it will be too much information for you guys, which I don't want to do at this point. So what we can do is, if you guys have any questions, we can, discuss that, or else I can walk you through one notebook from the previous classes, and so that if you guys have any further questions, we can discuss that, or uh, it's working. Yeah, so that's what I showed you, right? Pip command will work in command prompt. With IDLE also it's working, yeah, then it's good. Okay, chalo, we'll take you one more notebook. Then in that case, if you guys don't have any question, and then we'll wrap up. Uh, Fine. So I think I did not take Friday's class. So I hope, I mean, somebody might have taken for you. Right. So just, I think, okay. So I will walk you through simply some of the functions methods, right? So you can think of it as like a revision if you have already gone through this notebook. Because or you can, think it like a revision, and you can, work it out. Uh, Sorry, try to work it out today if you have already not tried it, right? And tomorrow's topic, it's gonna be little bit complicated. That's the reason I don't want to start it today. So it's basically about, there are different so we already learned about functions, right? And I think it will be a good exercise because you will be revising the functions also. So tomorrow we are going to learn about one level upper than function. So we already know what is function, right? It is a way to modularize your code, to structure your code. Now, if you really want to do it in a one level up, how a professionalist write it, how very all these library people who have created this, they write it. They write in terms of classes, decorators, and all these things. So tomorrow we are going to learn more about all these stuff. So so for that, let's revise the function part one more time. How do we define user function define functions, right? We call it as UDF, user defined functions. So simply, let's say, if you have you want to define a function, you have to give a def variable, give the variable name, and just close the quotes. If, let's say, if you want to give any argument, you can give it any input variable which you want to pass. Otherwise, you can simply, let's say, it can have a simple command as print, that it is not doing anything, just printing, that's all. So like these kind of functions can also be there. So if you do this and run this, it won't take anything from you, it won't give you anything, it will just print it out, these statement, that's all. Okay, so we call it as simple functions without any user arguments, right? Then you have a function where you give user inputs, right? You pass arguments. Okay, so like in this case, you have two arguments, x and y, which you will be passing. Then again, here you do whatever you want to do within this function. Let's say find maximum is your function. So you can say if x is greater than y, if x is greater than y, then return x, else y, right? So it will tell you what is the maximum value. So you can run this function, save this function, and use it by this find function, and simply pass two variables. Okay, so let's say if you don't pass two variables, it will give you error. Let's say if I pass one variable, what will happen? It is telling you clearly, right, that one required positional argument y is missing, because by default it thought first one is x. It follows that order, that you have given x, so first value x hai, then it says y ko koi value nahi aaya, right? So that's why you will know that which is the, I mean, you have to pass both the variables. Okay, so that's way to do it. Then I think this one kind of a homework I gave you. I hope you guys might have tried that star pattern and all these things, right? To print it out. By looking at this, I just got reminded of. Okay. Then then you can define another function called factorial. Now what it does, simply it will take one argument जिसका आपको factorial बनाना है, and how factorial is getting calculated, simply उस नंबर से चालू करके एंड के वन तक यू मल्टीप्लाई, दैट इज व्हाट फैक्टोरियल इज, राइट? सो 5 का फैक्टोरियल होता है 5 मल्टीप्लाई बाय ऑल द नंबर्स व्हिच इज स्मॉलर देन दिस, सिंपली 4 का 4 3 2 1. ओके, तो मतलब मुझे क्या करना है फंक्शन बनाने के लिए, आई विल जस्ट पास दिस वन वेरिएबल जिसका फैक्टोरियल चाहिए, दैट इज 5 4 इन दिस केस, एंड आई विल जस्ट रन अ लूप starting from 5 ending till 1. Correct? So that is the function I have defined here. Okay, so if you see here, I am running the loop for item in range of 1 to that number, and plus 1 we have done because range में we know अगर आप 5 डालोगे तो 4 तक ही रन होगा, तो you have to give it from 1 to this, and why 1, because starting में it does with 0, तो अगर आप starting define नहीं करोगे it will be 0 because you are multiplying with 0, right? So that's why start with 1 and end with that number plus 1, then you just multiply it, that's all. तो आप सिर्फ multiply करते जा रहे हो, result equal to result multiply by the item, and if you print at the end you will get the factorial. Okay, just return that result whatever you want to return. Okay, so in this case you were returning x or y, right? Simply in this case you can return result value, and once you do that you can get the items. Clear? So that's how you define the functions. Right, so आप input ऐसे भी दे सकते हो, like if you enter any number, so you can take input like this. Let's say if it can be 10. Okay, so I did not run this, that's why. Yeah, if I do 10, so you have given the answer. The factorial of the number is this. So because I'm calling the function over here, right? Okay. Then you have something called default arguments. Default argument मतलब मैं यहीं पे ही कुछ value देती हूँ. So if I am not giving anything, then also it is fine. It will not give me error. But let's say if I give something, it will override that value. Okay. So for example here, अगर मैंने यहाँ पे simply without giving anything, I ran, it gave this value. It did not give me any error. Okay, because the value is default is already set. In this case, if I have set it the default value of y something, it would have not given error अगर मैंने एक भी किया होता. You want to try? Let's say 30 I have given. Okay, and if I want to try with just one single argument, I can do that. See, it gave answer 30 because y को इसने assume कर लिया कि by default 30 है. Okay, so that's what we call as default arguments, right? Yeah. So if you give something, it will override. तो आपने 4 5 6 दिया तो it will override 1 2 3 and now 4 5 6 is your answer. Okay, fine. Then you have something called lambda functions. So lambda functions are nothing but whenever you have something one line functions, right? तो आप उस time पे one line functions देते थे lambda के. Instead of writing diff and then print or returning, you can simply give lambda and give the variable whatever you want to give, and after this colon you can tell what actions you want to perform. If you want to add, if you want to multiply, whatever you want to do. But it was only used only for a one line operation thing. You cannot do multi-line operation things over here. जबकि आप यहाँ पे multiple lines लिख सकते हो, right? Nobody is stopping you. This is the whole point, right? मैं function से इसीलिए लिखती हूँ when I have to repeat some 10-20 line of code every time. Correct? So it can be as long as possible. Okay, and there is no restriction on it, and you can use those functions. But lambda functions, if you have just one line thing, simply if you want to do without giving any variables or assignments, so that you can do, we call it as anonymous functions, right? So that we learned. Then we have something called argument and keyword arguments. So these are nothing but arguments जहाँ पे आप दो variable pass कर रहे हो and then you are performing some operations, right? Some of the numbers. And but for keyword arguments, you give this asterisk symbol and just say this asterisk dot args. That's all. Now what it does is it will take multiple arguments and return the sum. So here you don't have to clearly define कि आपके पास दो argument जाएंगे या 3 argument जाएंगे. When you don't have such surety, you always try to give dot arguments like star arguments. So what it will do is, as you can see here, आप जैसे ही ये वाला functions define करोगे, so you can print how many arguments are there, what is the type of the argument, and simply you can iterate on this. Okay, so it can be a tuple or it can be anything. So in here, as you can see, आपने दो दिया, तो what it does is, अगर मैं इसको print करूंगी तो argument is this. तो इसने argument ये लिया है, it has by default given as a tuple. Okay, so as you can see, type of the argument is a tuple, and what it does, आपने iterator लिखा था, so for I in arguments, so it has taken for I in arguments, and then simply it is appending, adding. So adding 5 7 like that. तो आप यहाँ पे कुछ भी कर सकते थे, 9 10 45 whatever. So you see it has added all these numbers. There is no limitation. Okay, this is a problem. You cannot pass it as a tuple. Okay, you can, so here if you see, you cannot pass it like this. You have to give these number like this only, because it is taking all these different arguments. It is not allowed to take what do you say, tuple, right? So that's why it is telling that int and tuple में ये वाला operation नहीं लगेगा, and that's why it will take only like this. तो आपको अलग अलग arguments देके ही देना पड़ेगा, or you can give it like that. If you really want to give something from here, तो आप इस तरीके से दे सकते हो कि T0, then T1, like T2, T3, likewise you can give, so it will work. Okay, cool. So same thing here, आप multiply कर सकते हो उसको, like you can just do. So that's where your keyword argument is used. Wherever you are not sure what is the, you know, what is the length gonna be. So you are not sure, you can, that's where you can give all these you know, keyword arguments, and you can pass on your list of all the things. So that could be one way. Another way could be, if you don't want to get into that, if it seems confusing, you simply pass a variable that is a tuple, right? Or that is a list. Like, so simple way to do it, if I really want to pass that tuple over here or a list over here, what I will do is, I will get, let's say, x, है ना, और मैं उसको ये ऐसे कर देंगे, right? I mean, or let me type it this. Just remove that star, because it can be any other name, right? It can be any name, right? And if I create it as a list, okay, and मान लीजिए मैं इसको one function define करती हूँ. Now if I run this, see, it worked. तो ये मेरा आर्ग्यूमेंट था, ये मेरा लिस्ट था, एंड ये मेरा रिजल्ट आ गया. तो it is as it is same, just that what you want to do, how you want to use. हर एक चीज को करने के मल्टीपल तरीके होते हैं. Okay, so whatever, I mean, and there is no way which is right, and there is no way like other is wrong. Both ways are equally correct in this case. So it is up to you, आपको जैसे easy लगता है, that way you can try. Okay, आप या तो लिस्ट बना के देना है आपको, आप लिस्ट बना के दीजिए, टपल बना के देना है, टपल बना के दीजिए, or you have to pass it as a different arguments, that you can do it. Just you have to make sure that whatever functions you are calling or running inside, it is not giving you any error. If you are getting, then try to resolve it. Okay, so with that we have revised the functions, and then tomorrow we will be learning more about the classes and more advanced level. So I will request you guys, please, just do a quick recap of the function slide, what I did if possible, or at least try running these Jupyter notebooks and all, right? Because if functions are not very much clear to you, importing the modules is not very clear to you, then tomorrow's session is gonna be little complicated. Okay, so that revision is important. So please do that. Right, and yeah, so I will just take again a quick break. If you guys have any questions or queries, we can answer those. No questions, no queries. Okay, then I think we are done for the day. We are good. Like today's session was good. So yeah, then let's see you tomorrow, guys. Then have a good day ahead. Yeah, thank you, everyone.